They laughed at my body, so I sold everything I had to change it. But I didn't know I was trading my peace for pain. This is the story of a girl who thought a bigger body would bring her love, fame, and freedom until it almost cost her life. Subscribe to Africa Tales by Fiend. Zainab stood in front of the small mirror, hanging on her grandmother's wall. The frame was cracked, but the reflection was clear enough to show her full figure. Her arms, her flat chest, her narrow hips, she stared at them in silence. In her village, girls with curves were praised. But Zainab was always the stick, the pencil, the one no man looked at twice. At the market, women whispered. Young men laughed. Even her younger cousins mocked her secretly. It hurt more than she let on. That evening, she watched her favorite Lagos influencer on Instagram. A girl who had gone from skinny to thick in months. The likes, the attention, the free clothes. Zainab wanted that life. She looked around her grandmother's small compound. Dust, chickens, and poverty. Her mind was made up. If she ever wanted respect, love, or opportunity, she had to become someone else. "I'll go to Lagos," she whispered, "and I'll come back new." Zainab sold her last goat and borrowed from her cousin to buy a one-way bus ticket to Lagos. She packed only what she needed, some clothes, her small savings, and the name of a woman called Madam Titi, who claimed to help girls transform fast, for cheap. The night bus was cold and crowded. She sat by the window, staring into the darkness, imagining her new life. She would get her body done, buy wigs, learn makeup, and start posting fine pictures online. Brands would notice her. Men would desire her. She would finally belong. By morning, the bus entered the noisy chaos of Lagos. It was everything she'd never seen: cars, buildings, people everywhere. A man snatched her phone at the park. She screamed, but no one helped. Her first Lagos lesson: survive first, cry later. She found her way to Madam Titi's address. It was in a dusty back street, next to a salon and a betting shop. She knocked. A new life was about to begin. The moment Madam Titi opened the door, Zainab hesitated. The woman was flashy long red nails, sharp lashes, and a fake accent. She smiled, like someone who had seen too much. "So you're the village girl," she said. Zainab nodded shyly. Inside the apartment were other girls, some recovering from procedures, some waiting their turn. There was no real hospital bed, just mattresses and injections in coolers. It didn't feel safe, but Zainab had come too far to turn back. Madam Titi inspected her body. "You'll need hips, yanch, and a little breast top-up. I can fix you up quick. N500 Kelvin total. Half now." Zainab's heart pounded. "Will it hurt?" "Only small pain, baby, but beauty day cost." She handed over her money. That night, lying on a thin mattress, Zainab whispered a prayer. Her body would change. Her life would change. But she had no idea. Not all changes are good. Zainab woke up early, her hands shaking slightly. One of the girls, Cynthia, who had done her body a week ago, smiled weakly. "You'll be fine," she whispered, but her eyes told another story. Madam Titi arrived around 10 a.m. with a man she called Dr. Slim. He wore jeans and a polo shirt. He didn't ask Zainab any questions. He simply pointed and said, "This one go need injection plus silicone insert." The room smelled of antiseptic and fear. Zainab laid on the makeshift table. No anesthesia, just a sharp injection that made her dizzy and numb. Then came the pain, deep burning pain. She clenched her jaw and cried silently as her body was pushed, pulled, and shaped. When it was over, she was soaked in sweat. Blood stained the mattress. "Rest," Madam Titi said. "You'll shine soon." But as Zainab closed her eyes, All she felt was fear and a deep pain that reached her soul. 3 days passed. Zainab couldn't sit properly. Her waist throbbed. Her legs were swollen. The fine girl in the mirror had new curves, yes, but her body felt like it was rejecting her. At night, she cried into her pillow, hiding it from the others. One morning, she woke up to find pus leaking from the side of her hip. Cynthia helped her clean it. "It happened to me too," she whispered. "But don't tell Madame Titi, she'll just shout." Zainab tried to smile for selfies, forcing herself to post healing vibes online. But her eyes looked tired. Her phone buzzed. Random men were already messaging her. Her body was being praised, even in pain. She felt trapped. She couldn't go home like this. She had invested too much. So she kept quiet, enduring the fever, the bleeding, and the shame. All for a body she wasn't sure she even wanted anymore. Zainab rented a small room in Agag, with the help of a guy who started chatting with her on Instagram. His name was Drex, and he called her Baddie and Baby all the time. She started posting photos in tight dresses, corsets, and heavy makeup. Her likes increased. More men offered gifts. One promised her an iPhone if she'd spend a night. At first, it felt like success. She was noticed, followed, envied. Her village friends began to message her, asking how she blew so fast. Zainab replied with emojis and fake laughter, pretending she was living the dream. But at night, her hips still leaked. Her back ached. She could no longer sleep on one side. And when Drex finally visited, his face changed when he saw her scars. "You should fix this," he muttered. She was already broken, yet people still wanted her to fix more. Zainab stared at herself in the mirror. Was this beauty, or was it destruction in disguise? Zainab's page grew fast. She hit 100,000 followers in weeks. Men flooded her DMs promising money, phones, even trips. She felt important, powerful, but the pressure to stay perfect grew heavier. Every photo had to be edited. Every smile had to be seductive. She couldn't post when her swelling got bad. She hid the pills she took daily for pain. A brand sent her a waist trainer. A lounge invited her to host an event. She started going out more clubs, dinners, beach parties. Drex introduced her to rich guys, who gave tips just for sitting beside them. But every time Zainab returned home, her tiny room felt like a prison. She lay on her bed, struggling to breathe, her hips throbbing under the weight of lies. She had changed her body. But now, something deeper was changing her soul. Cynthia collapsed. They rushed her to a private clinic, but it was too late. Infection had spread to her bloodstream. Zainab stood outside the clinic, shaking as they covered her friend's body with a white cloth. The news barely made it to social media. No one cared. Another girl, another BBL gone wrong. Just gossip for a day. Zainab wanted to run. She called Madame Titi, furious. "Why didn't you tell us it was this dangerous?" Madame Titi hissed. "You wanted cheap. You wanted fast. Did I force you?" Zainab felt sick. She went home, deleted some posts, and sat in the dark. Her body was now a time bomb. The girls at the lounge whispered. Some told her to go to a better clinic and fix up. Others said, "Nah, you're brand now, just manage am." But that night, when she looked in the mirror, all she saw was fear. Would she be next? Drex stopped replying to her messages. She heard from someone at the club that he was now with a new girl, slimmer waist, rounder curves, fresh surgery. Zainab felt disposable. She remembered how he used to hold her and call her Queen, how he promised to take her to Ghana for her birthday. All lies. He got what he wanted and moved on. Alone in her room, Zainab tried to call her mother, but hung up before it rang. What would she say? That she spent all her savings to ruin her own body? That she was now just another Lagos fine girl fighting for attention? Her breathing grew heavier, her chest tightened. She rushed to a clinic. The nurse shook her head after the checkup. You need full surgery to remove some of these materials, and it's expensive. If you don't, things could get worse. Zainab was silent. Worse? Wasn't this already her worst? Zainab walked the streets of Lagos in oversized sunglasses, a mask, and a hoodie, not to avoid fans, but to hide from herself. She no longer recognized the girl in the mirror. Her eyes were sunken. Her skin, once glowing, now had rashes. Her curves, once admired, now carried pain. She sat on a bench in Ojuelegba and cried like a child. No phones, no filters, just tears. She remembered her grandmother's voice. You are beautiful, the way God made you. She had laughed then. Now, she wished she had listened. She opened her photo gallery, old photos of her at the village stream, laughing with cousins, walking barefaced under the Sunday. She had traded peace for pain, respect for attention, herself for a lie. That evening, Zainab made a decision. She would disappear from the online world and try to find the girl she lost. But was she too far gone? Zainab deleted all her posts. She wiped her Instagram, changed her number, and stopped going to lounges. The girls in her old circle gossiped, saying she'd run mad. Some mocked her, others sent fake concern. But Zainab didn't care. She stopped wearing makeup, sold her ring light. She now wore loose clothes to hide the curves she once showed off. She took up a job at a small food stall, helping an old woman sell amala and uwedu near Surulere. The pay was small, but the peace was bigger. One day, a former follower recognized her. You look different. Zainab smiled faintly and said, I'm just healing. At night, she wrote in a small notebook, I lost myself chasing beauty. Now I'm chasing peace. For the first time in months, she slept without painkillers. Zainab hadn't spoken to her family in nearly a year. Her mother thought she was in school. Her grandmother had stopped asking questions. But one rainy afternoon, Zainab sat under a zinc roof and wrote them a letter. She told the truth about the surgery, the pain, the lies she lived. She didn't ask for pity, just forgiveness. She posted it through a local driver heading back to the village. Then she waited. Days passed. No reply. One evening, her phone rang. Her grandmother's voice cracked over the speaker. My child, you are still mine. Zainab dropped the phone and wept. She had run from shame, but her roots still held love. That night, she decided she would return to the village. Not to hide, but to rebuild. The bus ride home felt like a movie played in reverse. Zainab sat quietly. No wigs, no lashes, just a scarf and her natural face. People barely looked at her, and for the first time, she was okay with that. When she arrived, her grandmother ran to hug her. The old woman's eyes were full of tears. You're thinner, she said. Zainab nodded. But I'm here. Some villagers stared. Some whispered. Others offered her food and kind words. She helped in the farm. She fetched water. She sat under mango trees and listened to the wind. The noise of Lagos faded from her soul. But the scars on her body remained silent reminders of her choices. Still, she no longer hated them. They were part of her now. Zainab began helping her grandmother with her herbal soap business. The soaps were natural, handmade with local oils and herbs. She learned to mix, cut, and package them. She added simple designs and neat wrappers. One day, She posted photos of the soaps online, not with filters, but with honest captions. To her surprise, people began to order. Former followers messaged, "This is really you? You're glowing in a different way." A small brand reached out to stock her products in a Lagos boutique. Zainab smiled. This time, her body wasn't her business. Her hands were. Her past no longer defined her. Her scars didn't limit her. Her story had just begun again. One evening, Zainab recorded a video. No makeup, just her voice and truth. She shared her journey from village girl to influencer, the surgery, the lies, the pain, and how she found herself again. She ended with, "You don't need to break your body to feel beautiful. You just need to love yourself enough to stop chasing people who don't even love themselves." She posted it and turned off her phone. The next morning, her video had over 2 million views. Women across Nigeria commented, thanking her for her honesty. Some shared their own regrets. Others said they cancelled surgeries after watching. Zainab didn't smile for fame. She smiled for freedom. She was no longer a girl lost in Lagos. She was a woman who had found her way through pain, through scars, through truth. Zainab now lived a quiet life. Her soap brand was slowly growing. She had partnered with a local women's cooperative. Her face looked fresher. Her body still carried scars, but they no longer controlled her. She didn't post every day, just when she had something real to say. Her followers dropped from thousands to hundreds. But those who stayed listened deeply. She visited schools to speak with young girls. She told them her truth. Some cried, some stayed back to ask more. Her past was now a message, not shame. One evening, she stood in the village square, surrounded by young girls making soap together. They laughed and danced. Zainab closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you, God, for not letting me die in that lie." Late one night, her phone buzzed. It was a DM from a girl named Debbie, 19 years old. Pretty, innocent, full of dreams. The message read, "Hi Zainab. You don't know me, but I used to follow you back then. I saved to do my surgery next month. I want to be a baddie like you. Your new body gave you a good life. Please, tell me where you did it. I trust you." Zainab's chest tightened. She stared at the screen, frozen. This was the girl she used to be, full of hope, blind to pain. She wanted to ignore it, but she couldn't. She took a deep breath and replied, "Debbie, please don't do it. I nearly lost my life. The body brought followers but took my peace. It left me broken. You are enough. Your body is not a trend. Please read my story, I beg you." Minutes passed. Then a message came back. "Thank you. I was really confused. You just saved me." Zainab dropped her phone and wept. This time, they were tears of healing. Zainab stood at the village stream where she used to bathe as a child. The breeze kissed her skin gently. She was no longer chasing beauty. She was creating it through her voice, her hands, her truth. A reporter from a women's magazine came to interview her. They titled the article, "From Broken to Bold: How One Village Girl is Saving Lives with Her Scars." She didn't want fame anymore. She wanted change. That night, sitting by the fire, she told her grandmother, "I thought I had to change my body to matter, but all I needed was to remember who I am." Her grandmother smiled, holding her hand. "And who are you, my child?" Zainab smiled softly. "I am enough." The stars twinkled above, as if heaven agreed. And that's how the girl who traveled to the city never returned the same. She returned better. If you have watched till this moment, subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. See you in our next series. Bye.